Okay, picture this. It's the morning and you are very groggy as you slowly open your eyes. It might only be a millisecond or two before you recognize that something is very, very wrong. Maybe it's the sound of birds chirping or the sunbeams breaking through the windows, but every element of sleep has instantly vanished from your body and has been replaced with a sudden fear that you know to be true: you're late. You slept in and you missed an alarm, or maybe you never set it in the first place. And in the panic, the flight of the bumblebee is playing through your head. You gauge how much of the bare minimum is needed to make yourself presentable and race out the door. Now, I have been in this position more than once, sadly. The shame, the embarrassment, and the confusion of such an event stays with you for quite a while afterwards. A typical question enters your head: where did I mess up? Hey guys, welcome to Godly Guy Stuff. Time is a fickle thing. We seem to never have enough of it when we are tasked with projects that we really enjoy, and it never moves fast enough when we're walking through difficult issues. Now, I create these videos in order to give an opportunity to have a springboard for men here to connect and collaborate, to make sure that our time is well spent in order to have a stronger impact on our lives and the lives of those who depend on us. Now, if this sounds appealing to you, make sure that you subscribe to be part of a place that produces content for an iron sharpens iron environment. The time is no man's friend. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe humans have an inability to perfect time management. If there were a way to do this, someone long ago would have probably become ruler of the world. Instead, we are inundated with thousands upon thousands of task management systems, all claiming to be the perfect solution. I've tried dozens of management systems myself, and while each of these have their own unique positions, sadly none have the ability to rein me in personally. We are too individually unique for there to be a one answer for all solution in time management. I really can't claim that there is a solution provided by man that will accommodate a proper course of action. But that does not mean mankind has not attempted this throughout the years, and, of course, with technology, the attempts have become more elaborate as the years move along. I do want to ask one question though. Is proper time management a spiritual issue? Racing towards the starting line. Personally, there is a small portion of me that is excited by time management systems and software, I admit it. The ability to organize and develop a systematic approach towards accomplishing goals and completing projects has an appealing nature to it for me. Software services such as Monday.com and Bitrix24 are excellent sources for project management and time delegation. Even though I have used both of these programs successfully, I can still discover myself in a corner twiddling my thumbs, wondering what to do with my time, or rapidly approaching a large deadline with too many objectives still yet to be completed. I grew up listening to songs such as Working 9 to 5 and Taking Care of Business. Now, hearing these as a child, I saw them as comical perspectives on the daily doldrums millions of adults found themselves in. I guess you could say it's one way of trying to overcome the mundane aspects of life, the realities we sometimes find ourselves in. Now, this was done by making comical illustrations of these situations. Now, a more recent viral sensation has made itself known, and sadly, the perspective I've noticed as a child does not carry the same comical platitudes as an adult. Oliver Anthony rose to fame in the summer of 2023, topping charts with his singles. The first one, entitled Rich Men North of Richmond, paints the current day scenario rather well. Now, side note, I will be censoring myself from the profanity, as I personally do not allow these words in my house. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bull S pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a D-shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Oliver paints a dark visual with his words on the realities many of us are currently facing. Life's doldrums now are plagued with a darker sense of foreboding, where we find ourselves wasting away while at the same time working ourselves to the bone. I do wonder, and comment below if you have an answer, were there similar songs from the 80s and 90s that paint, this bleak picture of life and work? From my perspective, though, Anthony does present a realistic viewpoint to the culture of America today. Downtrodden, depressed, seeing no signs of hope. We wake up to difficult objectives. Time does not move quickly, yet our souls quickly age, and as he claims, many people today wake up to this reality that they deem a nightmare. Science has even begun to allude to this concept, with these new theories being discussed, seriously discussed, of the possibility of infinite parallel worlds in existence, and that maybe somewhere there is a different version of ourselves that is famous or dead. Or in other words, we might be somewhere out there happy or not feeling the pain that we are currently in. The American culture is built on a knife's edge, always having the ability to fall into prosperity or decay. As long as there's a solid balance in our leadership, we have solid balance in our culture, or so it's supposed to be. Therefore, even the mundane can appear trivial. Yet, as we all know full well, the introduction to the 21st century has been anything but mundane or a solid balance. We have been yanked back and forth between cultural traditionalism and progressivism. Now, this has weakened us mentally. We are now strained at the weight of overabundance and materialism, while our minds waste away due to poor management or resources. Each person now hangs their head a bit lower to the ground. It can be stifling, even unbearable. Now, I mentioned this in previous video, whereas we now see a shocking uptick in suicide trends. Christians are obviously not immune to this issue. We live in this world as much as non-Christians. We bleed red just as much. So, does the Bible have a simplified answer to any of this? Could we see a pathway to reduce our burden simply by making time management a priority? A come to Jesus moment. I'm not going to beat around the bush on this one. Do you know what a come to Jesus moment is? I have heard this phrase before as kind of a declaration between two individuals that refers to a confrontational moment where one person is going to be basically forced to accept the reality in which they live in, regardless of anything that they can say or do. All right, guys, we are about to have a good old-fashioned come to Jesus moment. If you cannot tell by the title of this segment, and yes, this probably will be painful. Godly guys, most of us have complicated problems that have little to do with one another. Now, I believe part of the answer to each of our problems revolves around a simple usage of time management and lack of proper priorities when it comes to time management. Now, there are millions, possibly trillions of differences between us. Time, honestly, is not one of them. Time is one of those great equalizers that no one, regardless of level of society, education, and status, can give you a second more than any other individual. We each have 24 hours in a 365-day year. The sun rises and it sets equally. And unless there's a providential interruption to this process, we are all set on the same level when it comes to time. Christian men have no more excuse than non-Christian men. With that being said, how many of us Christian guys make it a true, solid, authentic priority to spend time with God? Where is your relationship with God? And yes, I am pointing 4 fingers back at myself. I'm at fault with this just as much as anyone else. God wants an authentic relationship with us, and we let something as small as corporal issues stopping us from what I believe is 99% of what could be offered. Yes, the Christian godly guy in the modern American culture is missing 99% of the relationship we could have with God. We do not crack open the Bible. We do not converse with Him. We do not seek His advice on any of the issues. We walk by sight, and faith has little to nothing in the value in our lives. I honestly have an anger in me about this because it saddens me at how fragile we have become. In the realm of today's Christian godly guy, the personalities that are brought to the surface are loner. We choose to not interact. Smugness. We are embarrassed to meet others. Silent witness. We are afraid to speak to others. Resilient. We are afraid to research the right answers. Independent. We are afraid of connecting to other men. Solemn, as in the grave. We are quiet because we are alone. Guys, we as Christian men in this culture, in this time, forsake a valuable lesson here. Are we smug, grave loners because we have chosen to not have the light of Christ to warm us from within? Are we silent in our witnesses because we have no answers to the hope in which our lives are meant to be founded on? Are we independent because we have lost our ability to connect with God and other godly men? I do not want to beat too much on this, but I have been producing Godly Guy Stuff material for honestly less than a year, and I entered this process admittedly with low expectations, intentionally. My desire is to connect and collaborate first and foremost with God for myself, and then each other, on how we can be better together. While I am impressed with the amount of subscribers we have on Gab, I admit I do not see connections and collaborations happening. The view count on these videos is what I would deem very low. Do we not want to connect and collaborate? If so, that goes in direct violation of God's command to not forsake fellowship with other believers as stated in Hebrews 10:25. And let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of His return is drawing near. For me, I do not see men conversing or sharing or expounding on 99% of the content, on my content or any others shared. Tell me, what am I missing here? To me, the entire aspect of the American Christian male funnels down to one rather simple and precise issue. The lack of our relationship with God reveals itself in our muted existence in our culture. The church has become a weakened shadow of itself because we as men have not done our duty in our own personal walks. We are abandoned, not just those who have depended on us, but ultimately ourselves. Therefore, the challenges this week are as follows. Number 1, have a conversation with God. This might be a prayer, or as I like to do, a literal conversation. Find a quiet place, maybe on your commute to work, and simply start talking with the knowledge that He is listening. Number 2, comment and discuss on this video and others in Gab. Connect and collaborate on something that would make us men grow deeper in our walks with God and each other. And 3, seek answers. Go to the Bible, study a topic, study a verse. Just study. Find something of interest if you have to. The point is to pursue Him. He will not keep Himself hidden from those whom seek. And once you make time for Him, everything else will begin to have relevancy, either positive or negative relevancy. Carve out of your day committed time for this. Time management is not only a spiritual component in our lives, I would state it is the missing link to what is making our entire culture anemic and weak. Now it's your turn. As with every video here on Godly Guy Stuff, I offer up a challenge. What did I miss? Was that too harsh today? Am I wrong? No matter what, we will always struggle with time. Even when you begin or continue your walk with God, time's going to be a nuisance. The goal, though, is to remain focused on Him, no matter the obstacles. Remember, He said mountains can move. Do you believe Him? Do you believe these words are factual? Seriously, do you believe mountains can move? I would love to know your thoughts. Do you have a different perspective that might not be as negative as I see it when it comes to the Christian guy and how we live within our society? Do you believe we are making stronger steps towards another direction? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for listening throughout the entire video, and please, follow me or subscribe to the Godly Guy Stuff group on Gab. Gab is the largest location of followers and content that is produced for Godly Guy Stuff. So if you're watching this on another platform, YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, wherever, you're missing a lot more content posted. I also have recently launched the first volume in the Godly Guy Stuff, 10 chapters based on the Godly Guy Stuff video series. If you are a small group or you are interested in walking through a process to strengthen yourself and those around you, this book could be a great asset in your library. So click on the link in the description below to order your copy today. There's also a Godly Guy Stuff locals community. I sometimes post more personalized stuff there. Content for upcoming videos possibly. You can find personal stories, sneak peeks, a more general personal connection, and possibly even future casting of upcoming ideas. So if you want to see what I'm currently working on, you go to Gab. For upcoming topics, head on over to Locals. Links are, of course, in the description for absolutely everything, and I look forward to hopefully having the conversation continue. Thanks.